Are you ready to face the unknown, to confront the shadows that lurk in the corners of our world? We're about to embark on a journey to the most haunted places on Earth. These are the locations where the veil between our world and the other side wears thin. We're diving headfirst into the darkness, seeking out the evidence. This is Tenfinity, and these are the top 10 most haunted places in the world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you dare. Our first stop takes us to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, home to Eastern State Penitentiary. This isn't your average abandoned prison. Once at the forefront of prison reform, silence and solitude were tools of rehabilitation. But the silence became a breeding ground for madness and despair. Imagine the crushing isolation, the feeling of being utterly alone. Year after year, decade after decade, that kind of negative energy doesn't just disappear. It seeps into the walls, into the very foundation of the place. Visitors and staff have reported disembodied whispers, shadowy figures, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. Some even claim to have been touched, pushed, or scratched by unseen hands. This is a place where the line between doing time and being trapped for eternity blurs. Cell Block 12 is a hotbed of paranormal activity. It's a place where the air grows heavy, where temperatures plummet for no reason. People claim to see faces peering from empty cells, hear the clanging of cell doors slamming shut on their own. Paranormal investigators captured a menacing voice saying, "Get out!" The voice was so chilling it forced them to abandon their investigation. Number 9. At the base of Mount Fuji lies Aokigahara, the Sea of Trees. A place of stark beauty, yet beneath its serene facade lies a dark history. This forest is tragically synonymous with death. Many come here to end their lives lost in whispering trees and shadows. Locals say the forest holds on to souls, their anguish preventing peace. The trees bear witness to suffering, their twisted branches like grasping claws. People report encounters that defy explanation. Hikers see fleeting figures darting between trees. Others hear disembodied voices calling for help. Compasses spin wildly, unable to find true north. The most unsettling reports speak of an overwhelming sense of dread. Number 8. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. This place is a monster. A dark, looming presence sitting on a hill overlooking Louisville, Kentucky. Thousands died within these walls, their suffering echoing through the decades. For many, it became their final resting place. Waverly Hills is considered one of the most haunted places in America. Shadowy figures move in the darkness, barely perceptible to the human eye. We felt their icy presence like a whisper of death against our skin. There's a story they tell here in Waverly. A story about a young girl, a patient who died within these walls. They say she's still here, her spirit trapped. Some say she's playful, others say she's filled with anguish. We've heard the whispers of her laughter. We've seen fleeting glimpses of her form. Tonight, we're going to try to communicate with her. Number 7, the Tower of London. This isn't just a historical landmark, folks. This is a vault of suffering, a stone and mortar testament to the darkest parts of human history. For centuries, this place has been a stage for executions, imprisonments, and tortures that would make your blood run cold. Kings, queens, traitors, and innocents alike have met their end within these walls. Their energy is embedded in every stone, every crevice, every shadow that stretches out in the moonlight. You can feel the weight of their anguish, their despair as you walk these grounds. And the most famous resident of this haunted fortress? Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII, accused of treason and beheaded on the orders of her own husband, her spirit is said to roam the tower, her head tucked under her arm. They say that Anne's fury is strongest on the anniversary of her execution. People have reported seeing her ghostly figure gliding through the corridors. They say you can hear her mournful cries, her pleas for justice echoing through the centuries. We're here tonight, on the anniversary of her death, to capture evidence of Anne's presence. The energy here is off the charts. The air is thick with anticipation. We're setting up our cameras and EVP recorders, hoping to capture something. We're calling out to her, asking her to show herself. And then we hear it. A faint whisper, a disembodied voice that sends chills down our spines. We can't make out the words, but the tone is unmistakable. It's a sound of sorrow, of anger, of a soul yearning for peace. Number 6. Deep in the heart of France's Loire Valley stands a magnificent structure known as the Château de Brissac. This isn't your fairy tale castle, folks. This place is steeped in a dark and tragic history, its beauty masking a sinister undercurrent that chills you to the bone. They call it the Giant of the Loire Valley, and it truly lives up to its name. Towering over the landscape, the Château de Brissac holds centuries of secrets within its walls. Secrets of love, betrayal, murder, and the restless spirits that still roam its halls. But the chateau's most infamous resident is known as the Green Lady. Legend has it she was a woman brutally murdered within the castle walls, her spirit forever bound to the place of her demise. Visitors and residents alike have reported hearing her piercing wails echoing through the castle in the dead of night. Some say they've seen her, a shadowy figure with glowing green eyes, her face contorted in an eternal scream. We're here tonight to investigate the legend of the Green Lady, to see if we can capture evidence of her tormented spirit. The air grows heavy, charged with an oppressive energy. There's a palpable sense of dread that hangs in the air. Number 5. Guys, we're about to set foot on Poveglia Island, a place shrouded in such dark history it's been dubbed the most haunted island in the world. This place has witnessed unimaginable suffering. For centuries, Poveglia served as a quarantine zone for plague victims. Thousands upon thousands were brought here to die, their bodies tossed into mass graves that litter the island. Can you imagine the despair, the agony that still clings to this land? The energy here is already intense, and we haven't even gotten off the boat yet. The air is thick with a palpable sense of dread. You can practically taste the fear that these souls experienced in their final moments. This is the kind of place where the veil between the living and the dead feels paper thin. If the plague wasn't bad enough, this island's horrors were amplified when a mental asylum was built right on top of the plague pits. Imagine the torment, the screams echoing through these decaying walls. Patients reported being tormented by shadowy figures, driven to madness by the spirits of the plague victims. The doctors, they weren't saints either. It's said that gruesome experiments were conducted here, adding another layer of pain and anguish to this cursed place. This island is a beacon for lost, tortured souls. You can feel the weight of their collective suffering, their anger, their desperation. Whatever we encounter here, we know it's going to be intense. It's time to gear up and see who or what is still trapped on Poveglia. Number 4. Edinburgh Castle, perched high above the historic city, isn't just a majestic fortress. It's a time capsule of paranormal activity. For over 1,000 years, this castle has borne witness to countless battles, imprisonments and executions. The stories are endless, etched into the very stones of this place. And where there's that much history, there's bound to be some residual energy. People have reported seeing shadowy figures, hearing disembodied voices, and feeling an overwhelming sense of dread within these walls. We're here to investigate the most notorious of these hauntings, starting with the legend of the Headless Drummer. They say he appears just before tragedy strikes the castle. He's been spotted on the ramparts, his spectral drumsticks pounding out a rhythm of doom. A warning from beyond the grave. But the Headless Drummer is just one of many restless souls said to haunt Edinburgh Castle. Deep within the castle's bowels lie the dungeons where countless prisoners of war were held captive. Many died here, their anguish echoing through the centuries. Among the most haunted areas are the vaults used to hold French prisoners during the 7 Years' War. Visitors and guards have reported seeing ghostly figures, feeling icy cold spots, and hearing the moans of those who perished within these stone walls. This is where we're headed next, into the heart of the castle's darkness. We're going to confront these spirits head-on, to hear their stories and to document the evidence of their existence. Get ready, because things are about to get real. Number 3. Nestled in the breathtaking Canadian Rockies, the Banff Springs Hotel is a luxurious landmark with a chilling secret. It's not just the stunning architecture and breathtaking views that draw visitors here, it's the chance to brush shoulders with the supernatural. This grand hotel, dubbed the Castle of the Rockies, has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted hotels in the world. Guests from all walks of life have reported spine-tingling encounters within these opulent walls, shadowy figures lurking in the corridors, disembodied voices whispering in the night, and a pervasive feeling of being watched. But the most famous ghost story revolves around a tragic bride. Legend has it she tripped and fell down the grand staircase on her wedding day, her silk dress engulfed in flames. They say her spirit, forever trapped in her final moments of terror, still searches for her groom within the hotel's grand ballroom. But the ghostly bride isn't the only restless spirit said to roam the halls of the Banff Springs Hotel. Another chilling tale revolves around a former bellman, Sam Macaulay. They say he takes his duties very seriously, even in death. Guests have reported seeing him in his crisp uniform, offering assistance with a smile. But when they reach out to accept, he simply vanishes into thin air. There's also the story of room 873, a room permanently sealed off due to an unsettling number of paranormal incidents. Some guests claim to hear frantic knocking on the door in the dead of night, while others report seeing the ghostly figures of a family brutally murdered within those very walls. We're here to investigate these claims, to separate fact from fiction, and to see if we can communicate with the spirits that call the Banff Springs Hotel home. Let's do this. Number 2. All right, we're diving deep into Alcatraz, a place synonymous with isolation, punishment, and despair. Surrounded by the frigid waters of San Francisco Bay, this island prison was designed to break the toughest criminals. But some believe the torment didn't end with their sentences. It's as if the very walls of Alcatraz are saturated with the anguish and rage of the inmates. Imagine the chilling echoes of clanging cell doors and the distant whispers of madness. Visitors and park rangers claim to experience unexplained cold spots and shadowy figures. Alcatraz remains a haunting reminder of the human capacity for both good and evil. Now, I've heard countless stories from people who've set foot on Alcatraz and felt an immediate shift in the atmosphere. It's like stepping into another dimension, where the veil between our world and the spectral realm is thin. Visitors have reported feeling a ghostly presence following them. One of the most haunted areas is Cell 14D, where an inmate claimed to have been terrorized by a malevolent entity, a presence so terrifying it drove him to the brink of insanity. Is it possible that some energies remain tethered to this physical plane long after death? It's a question that continues to baffle even the most skeptical investigators. During our lockdown on Alcatraz, the energy was palpable. The air was thick with a heavy silence, broken only by the distant lapping of waves. Our equipment picked up some of the most compelling EVPs we've ever captured. Voices from the beyond, whispering tales of suffering and despair. Alcatraz is a place where history and the paranormal collide. Some souls may never find peace, forever bound to the prison they could never escape in life. Number 1. Nestled high in the Carpathian Mountains of Transylvania, Romania, lies Bran Castle, a place that has captivated the imaginations of horror fans for generations. This medieval fortress, shrouded in mist and legend, is said to be the inspiration for Bram Stoker's iconic vampire, Dracula. Now, whether Vlad the Impaler, the ruthless ruler who inspired the Dracula legend, ever actually set foot within these walls is up for debate. But what can't be denied is the palpable sense of dread that permeates this ancient structure. The castle's imposing architecture, with its steep, winding staircases and shadowy corridors, seems to whisper tales of dark deeds and unspeakable horrors. Visitors from all over the world flock to Bran Castle, drawn by the allure of the vampire myth and the chilling stories that cling to its walls. Many have reported feeling a cold touch, an unseen presence brushing past them, or witnessing fleeting shadows moving at the edge of their vision. The castle's history is steeped in bloodshed and violence. It served as a strategic defense point against the Ottoman Empire. Imagine the clash of steel and the screams of the wounded. Bran Castle is considered a magnet for paranormal activity. Spirits of those who met their demise still linger. Legend has it that Vlad the Impaler casts a dark shadow over the castle. His presence is strongest in the castle dungeons. Could the stories of Vlad's cruelty be amplifying the paranormal activity? So there you have it. The top 10 most haunted places in the world. Which haunted location gave you the chills? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this ghostly journey, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with all the latest from Tenfinity. Thanks for watching, and remember, you never know what might be lurking in the shadows. Until next time.